All right, all right. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, April 26th. And I was just, one of the things I was thinking about this morning before I introduced Cliff Weiner from the Property Owners Association of Villages. I was walking outside and it was a little warm, but it wasn't as hot as what it's going to be later on this summer. And a lot of people appreciate the heat, especially after experiencing many years up north. I was thinking, April in Florida is very underrated. Very underrated. That was kind of like my thought. I was like, it's still very nice. Little breeze, especially in the evenings. It's very cool. So for people that are thinking about moving into our area, our state's a great place to live, and the Villas is a great place to live. And one organization that's been dedicated for many years to improving the lifestyle that we have here in the Villages has been the Property Owners Association for many years. So I want to introduce Cliff. Cliff, how long have you been president, by the way?
This is my 10th year.
Wow. Does it feel like 10 years? Does it feel like 20 or
like 20?
I can't believe it. Like 10 years is unbelievable. That's great. Well, look, thank you for doing all the things that you're doing, and what the Property Owners Association does. And of course, I want to lead with this. Anybody can be you're a resident of the Villages. You can be a member of the POA. And of course, there is the monthly magazine that gets sent out and lands in everybody's driveway and doorstep as well. So, but if you do want to be a member of that, we'll talk about that later. But today we're going to talk about fire fees, right? There's been a lot of talk over pretty much seems like the last couple of years about emergency services and fire department and EMT and all that kind of stuff. We're going to be talking about the campaign processes and complaint processes and how do you go about doing that. And we're going to talk about elections, and then there's going to be a bonus. There's going to be a bonus that we won't reveal what that is, but there's going to be a bonus conversation. You're going to want to stay into the end. Some really interesting things that really impact a lot of people that participate in the Villages. So without further ado, Cliff, welcome. Tell us what's going on. What's happening?
Okay. Well, there's a lot going on. With the fire fees, Sumter County approved the Village Public Safety Department to form their own dependent fire district in October of last year. So that board was appointed, and they've been meeting all year. And in July, they will be presenting their budget to Sumter County for what it's going to take to run the Village Public Safety Department. So with that being said, they are saying that it will cost you roughly $325 per household. There has also been a 1.31 mil charge that's in your tax bill that Sumter County's used to fund the public safety department in the previous years. And people think that might go away. Well, I'm not quite sure that that's going to go away, because that 1.31 millage will probably be used to maintain the village fire trucks, ambulances, community watch vehicles, which Sumter County is doing now. So I just don't want residents to think that $325 is going to be the end of what they're going to pay. Come August or September, when the budget gets approved, you might see a much higher fee than that when you add it all together. Also, Marion County is not any part of this at all.
Is
You
not,
know,
is not. This is just Sumter County is what you're saying.
well, it's Sumter County, it's Lady Lake, and the portion of Lady Lake that's in the villages. It's Fruitland Park and Pine Ridge, and it's also the Leesburg portion. But they have a different deal. They have an interlocal agreement with those counties, which is Lake County. So, for instance, I believe the fee that you will pay if you live in the Leesburg part will be like $199 a year. So, and then I'm sure that they're paying something on their tax bill that goes to Leesburg or Lake County. So the important part, though, is that Marion County is out of this. Marion County pays their fees to Marion County Fire and Rescue, and that's as far as it goes. So we don't get the public safety department to answer calls unless there's a mutual aid agreement and um, Marion County's busy at the time. I happen to live in Marion County, so I'm well familiar with this whole process.
So,
Um,
so Cliff, on that. So, a couple of questions. If people want to know, okay, like you said, it's not just going to be the $300+ It's obviously going to be your tax. Your tax is going to go up a little bit, and you're going to see that as an itemized portion in your tax bill if it gets approved fully in the fall, is what you're saying.
Correct.
And one thing I recommend is, like, for current residents and obviously future residents, you're not sure exactly what your tax bill is going to be, especially during this time period, and you want to know what is it exactly. Obviously, connecting with you can go online and go to the particular county's tax collector's office website, or you can call the tax collectors to get kind of an estimate as to what my taxes could be, because I don't want people to be deceived that it's going to be this and it really isn't, and you really can't tell how much it's going to be. A lot of it depends on, all right, what's the value of your home?
That's part of it, but the the public safety department or the board that controls it is saying that the average for a resident in the village is going to be $325. So that's what you're going to pay. But right now, the important part is that the millage rate of 1.31 that Sumter County is collecting, people think that that might go away, and it might not go away. If it doesn't go away, that's another $350 roughly. So that's the big point. One of the things that the POA is pushing is for this new board to ask Sumter County to let them impose impact fees, fire impact fees on new houses that are being built, so that the developer will be paying through these impact fees for the new fire stations and new fire trucks that have to be bought and the new ambulances. So far, we've gotten a lot of resistance, but we're not going to give up because that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and most of the new construction has obviously been in Sumter County, but it's also now a lot of it's in Lake County.
Correct.
Moving forward, and that's why it's not the entire Lake County, but it's definitely in the portions where the villages are for Sumter and Lake County, right? That's why you mentioned
Mostly the Leesburg part now, right?
Yes. Yep. Makes sense. And it doesn't impact Marion County taxes, because Marion County taxes have been traditionally a little bit higher anyway than some of the other counties traditionally.
Well, they won't be anymore.
So there you go. So, and by the way, I think that's going to help. There has been a little bit of a stigma for Marion County, unfortunately, because it's further north, and then a higher tax rate. But this could help balance things out. How will the services change in any way? Right, we're talking about the cost of service right now, Cliff. What about the service itself?
Nothing's going to change.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And the people in the villages have come to expect top-rate service, and that's what they're going to continue to get. But you have to pay for it.
But
You want to
no big surprise, right? Like, and I think we have to be realistic about that. Like, yes, we'd like to have great service for free, but that's not realistic.
No. I just don't want people to be surprised what they end up paying.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. What about let's talk about you want to talk about campaigns and that type of thing. Tell me what's happening with the elections and
Okay.
election processes.
There's 4 candidates running for Sumter County Sheriff. There are 7 candidates running for 3 Sumter County Commission seats. And for district offices in the different number of districts in the villages, there are 4 contested races now. There are about 30 seats up for election, and only 4 of those seats are up for competition, which is kind of sad when you think about it. But that's the way it usually goes. The important issue is the Sumter County Commission races, because they're going to decide what the majority of people that live in the villages and actually in Sumter County proper are going to have to put up with for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
3 of the candidates are backed by the developer, and probably 3 of the candidates will be backed by the POA.
That's the way it's been, right? It's just
if you think about it, in 2020 when they wanted to raise taxes 25%, those 5 commissioners were all beholden to the developer. Since 2025, and now we're in 2024 rather than 2020, we've gotten rid of all 5 of those candidates. So we have helped get elected 5 different candidates. Just for your information, the person that works for the POA and writes our monthly bulletin is actually running for one of those seats.
Nice.
And she's a highly intelligent, reasonable lady. And I think it's important that that board have at least one female on it. Females have a different viewpoint and perspective than males, and they bring a lot to the table.
Well, we were all brought into this world by a female, so that's important, right?
Yeah, it is.
So if people wanted more information, I'm glad you brought this up, because I wasn't thinking about elections, and it seems like so far off, but it's not that far off. How do people get more information on each candidate?
Okay, well, to start with, the POA will be having a candidate night for Sumter County Commissioners on July 18th at Everglades Rec Center. We have invited, or will be inviting, all 7 people that are running if they qualify. Qualifying ends June 14th, so you have to get X amount of signed petitions or pay to get in. So I'm assuming that all 7 will be there because they'll qualify. We are going to have them do their little presentation and then a chance to answer questions. I have asked them to submit 100-word essays that we will be published in our bulletin, and we will let people make their own decision. Also important is on July 16th at Laurel Manor at our membership meeting, we will be having Bradley Arnold and the chairman of the Sumter County Commission, Craig Estep, at a meeting to present the 2024-2025 Sumter County budget, which will have a lot of information into the fees that are going to be charged to the fire districts. So those are really 2 important meetings. And then on August 27th, we will have a candidate night for all of the supervisors that are running for district offices, and also publishing essays from them to let people see who you want to vote for and who's running. And hopefully we'll all make the right decision and get the right people elected.
So, Cliff, repeat those 3 dates again.
Yeah, July 16th is the budget with Bradley Arnold at Laurel Manor. July 18th at Everglades Rec Center will be the Sumter County Commission candidates. And then on August 27th, that's a special meeting and a special date. We will have the local district numbered candidates that are running. So far, there's 4 contested seats. And the reason the meeting is on August 27th is our regularly scheduled meeting, which would be the week before that, we got knocked out because it's used as a voting poll for people in that area at Laurel Manor. So we don't get the room. So we had to get another room.
You got kicked out. You got kicked out. Darn democracy.
Happens every 2 years.
So tell us about the complaint process. There's so many, and we're going to need another video and a session probably in the near future about the different types of complaints. So I didn't necessarily want to go back into all, take a deep dive into all the complaints because there's a lot there. But you did have something to say about the complaint process.
I did, because districts are choosing to do away with anonymous complaints and make it so that you have to give your name and address and all of that kind of information to file a complaint, which then becomes a public record. And if the person that is complained against chooses to want to know who complained against them, they can get that information. In the last 2 months, there are 5 instances that I know of where people have been threatened after they have made a complaint. One of them, I'm sure you've all seen on some of the other social media, where they put a troll sign on her lawn, and she, as of last week, is still being harassed. I think that that's a dangerous situation where somebody someday is going to get really hurt. What we have done in District 4, because I am on that board, I'm chairman of the District 4 board, actually. We have not done away with anonymous complaints. But when you call a complaint in, you have to give your unit number so we know that you live in District 4, which eliminates people just driving through neighborhoods and making complaints. So far, it's worked well. And if I tell you that I live in District in Unit 45, there's 190 some houses in Unit 45. So you have no idea who made that complaint. So it's worked well. Hopefully the rest of the districts will do that. But districts 2, 5, 6, and I think there might be one more, have chosen, 12, have chosen to do away with anonymous complaints. It's a dangerous situation that someday something serious is going to happen. Yeah. So hopefully a couple of them are thinking changing it back, or at least to what District 4 did, but it's not good the way it is now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to understand, Glenn, the Villages is 50 years old almost. They've always had anonymous complaints and it's worked. And now that we're changing it, I'm not quite sure it's working the way it was.
Yeah. I will tell you this, look, I think it's an issue. Yeah. Both ways. I do like the fact that, if you're going to complain, you should be from that district, mm-hmm. right? Right. That should be verified. Like, okay, it's you definitely live there. You're not crossing over district lines and making complaints all over across the villages. So
Right.
I think that's fair. That makes a ton of sense.
Well, that's what District 4 came up with, and a bunch of the other districts are choosing to follow that because it's working well. We've cut down on their complaints, and you still don't know who complained. And the big thing with doing away with anonymous complaints is my concern is what is that neighborhood going to look like 4 or 5 years from now when people are afraid to complain, so you don't get complaints and you got a lot of things happening that shouldn't be happening. So we're
Yeah.
trying to change and keep it the way it is now.
Yeah, that's for sure. And for the watching audience, District 4 is in that's north of 466.
It's a Marion County portion.
Marion County, yeah. Okay, good. All right, so now the bonus, the surprise topic. We weren't planning on talking about this, but we do have the surprise topic. Cliff, I'll let you go for it.
Well, the big issue right now in the villages is the condition of the executive golf courses. Um, so there's a bunch of them that are closed due to being in poor condition. The budgets that were proposed are being proposed for 24-25 for the AAC and PWAC Project-Wide Advisory Committee, which manage or oversee the money that is spent for amenities. The two combined totals is almost $12 million for golf course renovation for 5 courses. That's not all. It's not going to take care of all of them. Somehow, the people that are in charge of the villages who or the district who manage the golf courses have let this slip through and the courses are in terrible shape. There are assets. So there's a lot of things that need to be done, and nobody seems to want to take actual responsibility for what has happened. But if we spend 11 million or 12 million dollars on amenity money this year, we're probably going to have to spend that much next year or more, and maybe even the year after that. So you're talking about 25, 30 million dollars just to bring our courses back to where they were, and that's one of our big assets. So we have a bulletin that's coming out next week. We have a really good story and information about some things that our founder, or the son of our founder, Gary Moore, said in 2011 or 12, and they're not actually doing it. And part of the problem is that south of 44, where all the new buildings going, they're not building enough recreational facilities and golf courses to the numbers that were used north of 44. In other words, there were supposed to be so many houses and you have another executive golf course. That sort of dropped. According to our figures, there are about 5 executive courses short south of 44. And that carries over to rec centers and everything else. So what's happening is the people that live down there all are coming north of 44 to play golf, to use the rec centers. So hopefully the developer will take heed from this article and try to make some changes. I'm sure you remember, Glenn, and people that have been here a long time do. When you moved into a neighborhood, a new neighborhood, all the amenities were there, and then they built the houses. Now it's the other way around.
Yes.
They build the houses, and now they build the amenities. So you never get caught up. So that's a really big issue. And can I say one other thing that has nothing to do with this?
Yeah.
But the Daily Sun, which is the developer's newspaper, of course, and everybody knows that, already on this past Tuesday, I believe it was, published the first article about the up and coming election. And of course, they bad rap three of the candidates that they're against. They bad rap the POA. And our front page article is going to start disputing what they're saying that is not true because they're publishing false information. One thing that the POA never does is put false information in our bulletin. What we put in there is true to the best of our knowledge. So I felt it's time we start striking back and letting people know what the truth really is. So you're going to find this issue really, really good, I think.
Well, this is, yeah, definitely get a copy of that, read that for sure. I think, the most important thing is, stay up to date on things and what's happening, read, research. Obviously we try to keep people up to date on this channel as well. I think that's important. And, I feel pretty comfortable with the existing golf courses getting that whole situation will get rectified. Because either the money will be there or is there or will be there. And I feel pretty good about that. What we don't know, and I've heard a lot of complaints, especially on the new construction side, is that there's just not enough facilities, amenities further south. And that, maybe that'll occur, maybe it doesn't, it's hard to say, but I feel pretty good about the existing villages, at least north of 44 and north of the turnpike anyway.
Yeah, well, the big issue is that north of 44, they're owned by the resident. South of 44, they're still owned by the developer.
That's right.
So it's a whole different story.
Right.
Are our courses going to get fixed? Yeah, but at what price? It's not that they're not going to get fixed, but when you take $11 million this year just to fix golf courses, where the budgets in previous years to fix golf courses was a couple of $1 million. Now you're talking about big money, and we just don't want this to happen again. Let's try to fix it and make sure that we don't have this happen again. That's the big issue, because eventually money runs out. If you keep spending it like that, it doesn't last forever.
Then the fees have to go up. Yeah.
Well, that comes out of amenity monies, and your amenity monies are capped. They only go up by the CPI. So it puts a strain, because eventually you might be spending more than you're taking in. And then your reserves go down, and then you have all kinds of different issues. So we're going to try to keep on top of that. Hopefully they're going to heed the warnings that the residents have given them, because it's become enormous. I saw today they're opening 3 but closing 2 more. So when is it going to stop?
Yeah. Well, get involved, stay involved, is my message for everybody. Cliff, I want to thank you today. Thanks for coming on today. Happy April. And let's get together in the next couple of months to see what else is new.
Whenever you're ready, I'm always willing.
Let's go.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Cliff. Bye.